The world, for Leo, was a beautiful, silent aquarium. He lived in a gilded cage of a house on a hill, where sunlight streamed through immense windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. His father, a man of rare smiles, had filled their lives with every tangible object of desire, an elaborate train set sneaking through rooms, a library of pristine, unread first editions, and a white pony grazing in the emerald pasture below. Yet, for all this material splendor, a profound silence lay at the heart of it all. Leo was 8, with hair the color of wheat and eyes of deep, solemn twilight blue. His voice was in his small, often charcoal-smeared hands, which flew through the air in a graceful, silent language of signs. A childhood illness had stolen his hearing, a loss declared permanent and untreatable by the family's trusted audiologist, Dr. Albright. This man, with his calm voice and reassuring smile, was a fixture in their lives. Monthly visits to his plush office always ended with the same solemn verdict: no change. I'm afraid, Mr. Thorne, the neural pathways are simply too damaged, the therapy involved expensive, bulky hearing aids that amplified the world into a painful, confusing static for Leo, to please his father, whose face would tighten with disappointed hope. Leo became a master of imitation, a silent actor in his own life, nodding and smiling at appropriate cues. His true refuge was the garden. There, he would press his palms against the trunk of the old oak tree, feeling the thrum of life within, a vibration that was his only music. He would watch sparrows, their throats pulsing with silent songs, and try to mimic their joy with his hands. This quiet existence was gently disrupted by Maria, who had arrived from Venezuela 6 months prior. Her smile was as warm as the sun on terracotta tiles. She didn't know sign language, but she spoke a more universal tongue of kindness. She learned his world through patient observation, seeing how he started at sudden vibrations, how he watched mouths with intense focus. She left small gifts on his pillow: a striped river stone, a blue jay's feather, a sprig of rosemary. She would hum while she worked, and Leo would feel the soft vibration through the kitchen table and look up to meet her crinkling, dark-eyed smile. It was the first time he felt truly seen, not as a deaf boy, but as Leo. One rainy afternoon, she found him drawing the grand piano, a hulking, silent beast in the library. He had sketched himself with his ear pressed against its cold side. Maria's eyes glistened. She pointed to the piano, then to her ear, and shook her head. Then, she pointed to his heart and nodded. Pulling a worn photo from her pocket, she showed him her daughter, Mimi, playing a violin with a proud, sad love. "Mihija," she whispered, then placed her hand over her heart. The message was clear and profound. Music is felt, not just heard. This silent exchange planted a seed of a different kind of hope in Leo. The seed of truth was sown days later. Maria was vacuuming upstairs when the cord snagged, sending a heavy crystal ashtray crashing onto the hardwood floor. At that exact moment, Leo, sitting directly below on his rug, flinched violently and dropped his charcoal. It wasn't the vibration that startled him. He was accustomed to those. It was a sound of muffled, distant, but unmistakable boom that registered inside his head as noise. Upstairs, Maria froze, her eyes darting to the study door where Dr. Albright stood, unaware. While she had seen Leo's flinch, the pure shock on his face, a cold, sharp suspicion pricked her heart. He heard that her investigation began silently. She dropped a metal spoon on the tile behind him. His shoulders jerked. She tapped the window pane while he read. His head snapped up. Her blood ran cold. The boy could hear. The horrifying realization unfolded. Dr. Albright was not helping. He was imprisoning Leo in silence, likely for the steady, lucrative payments from his wealthy father. With meticulous care, she cleaned the doctor's private study. One day, her dusting cloth caught on a nearly invisible seam in the bookshelf. A hidden compartment clicked open. Inside were files labeled with Leo's name, containing a devastating truth: diagrams for a cochlear implant, reports declaring him a viable candidate, with a prognosis excellent. It was all there. Dating back years, a simple, corrective surgery recommended and available, all explicitly denied in the official reports. The man had stolen the sound of a father's voice, of birdsong, of rain, for money. The confrontation required precision. Mr. Thorne trusted charts over intuition. On the day of the next appointment, as Dr. Albright presented his usual grim prognosis, Maria entered with tea. Her heart hammered, but her hands were steady. She set down the tray, walked to Leo, and knelt, taking his hands. She looked into his eyes, then turned to face the men. With a smile full of sunlight and courage for Leo, she clapped her hands once a sharp, loud crack that echoed through the room. Leo jumped, his hands flying to his ears. His eyes screwed shut against the painful noise. Mr. Thorne stared, aghast. "Leo, what is it?" Dr. Albright, his face draining of color, stammered. "He's just startled by the vibration. A common reflex." Maria ignored him. She pulled a small tin whistle from her pocket and blew a soft, low note. Leo's hands slowly lowered. His eyes opened wide with wonder and confusion. He tilted his head, listening to a real, pure tone. He looked from Maria to his father, his expression a heartbreaking mix of fear and dawning hope. What is the meaning of this? Mr. Thorne's whisper was like crumbling stone. Maria stood, placed the hidden file into his hands, and said nothing. The evidence was in the trembling boy, the ashen-faced doctor, and the damning papers. Weeks later, the house on the hill was filled with a new, beautiful noise, the sound of a father's emotional voice learning to speak to his son, and the sound of Leo's real, bubbling laughter as Maria taught him words. The surgery was scheduled. Dr. Albright was gone, his reputation in ruins. On the eve of the procedure, they sat in the garden at sunset. A bird sang from the willow tree. Leo pointed, his face alight. "He can hear it already," Mr. Thorne said, his voice choked with gratitude as he looked at Maria. "You gave me back my son." Maria smiled, placing a hand over her heart. "He was always here," she sighed, a new language she and Mr. Thorne were learning together. "I just helped you find him." Leo took their hands and pressed them against the trunk of the old oak tree. They stood in the warm, fading light, three hearts connected, feeling the deep, resonant thrum of the world of vibration that was no longer a substitute for sound. But it's beautiful, foundational truth. The silence had been broken not just by noise, but by a courageous heart who chose to listen, and to shatter a cruel illusion with the sound of her hands.